Today we're going to do a full body workout with these exercise bands. Doesn't matter which type you've got, whether you've got the loops or whether you've got the ones with handles, you'll be able to do all the exercises that we do today. And we're going to go through 8 of them. We're going to do a single arm chest press, a single arm row, a band squat, a band shoulder press, a kneeling band pull down, a deadlift, a lunge, and we're going to go through a woodchopper as well. They're all marked in the chapters below, so you can go straight to them if you want. There is maybe one accessory that you might need if you don't have a pole or something that you can latch these bands onto. Let me show you what it is. So this is a door jamb, and to show you how to use it, we're going to need a door. So here's the one and only door in the studio. You just get your door jamb, you open your door a little bit, pop it on the other side, and then shut it. And then you've got this extra strong loop that you can hang your resistance bands off. You can put it high, you can put it on the sides, it doesn't matter, it'll work just fine. Just make sure you put it on the side of the door that it shuts, if that makes sense, so that that door has got pressure around its frame. Then you won't damage anything. All right, let's get stuck into it. So the first exercise we're going to go through is the single arm chest press. It's a great exercise for the chest, the shoulders, and the triceps. Now you're going to need something to attach it to, so a pole or a railing works really great. If not, use that door jamb that I showed you just before. Now if you're using a band with handles, you're going to put one handle through the other handle just like that, and then it'll be really secure to the pole or railing or whatever you choose to use behind you. If you're using a loop, similar sort of thing. Pass one loop through the other loop just like that. Now to do our chest press, we're going to grab the band and step forward with the opposite leg. And from here, we're going to drive that band out in a horizontal position so it follows that same line. You want to make sure that you move your shoulder blade as much as you can with this exercise. So as you push it out, you push your shoulder forward. As you bring it back, you draw your shoulder blade back. Just like that. That will keep things safe for your shoulder. It will also help you use your chest a little bit more in this movement as well. Now, a little tip. I like to reach over the band and stick my thumb through it like that, and then the band barely rubs against my skin. If I reach through like this and grab it, it wants to rub against my arm hair, and the latex of the band can be uncomfortable. So try reaching over, thumb through, give that a go. About 8 to 12 on one side, 8 to 12 on the other. If it's easier and you don't have a thicker band, push the rep range up. All right, let's move on to our single arm row. Now the single arm row is a great exercise for the upper back and the biceps. We're going to set it up exactly the same as we did for our single arm chest press. We'll choose a hand and we're going to have the opposite leg forward. From here, we're going to pull that band in towards our ribs and then all the way back out again, trying to get a full range of movement when we're doing this exercise. As I pull this band in, I'm trying to pull my shoulder blade back to get my upper back working as much as I possibly can. So at the very end of the movement, you should be really tall and proud. Really puff your chest out. Just like that chest press we just did, 8 to 12 reps. Unless your band isn't strong enough, then take that rep range higher. All right, let's move on to our band squats next. This is a good exercise for the quads, glutes, and hamstrings. It's just a great all-round leg exercise, really. If we're going to do it with a loop, we're going to stand on our loop with our feet shoulder width apart, and from here, we're going to pull this loop up and stick our elbows through like that. So it's going to cross over our collarbone. From here, we're going to perform our normal squat by pushing our hips back, dropping down, weight through our heels, and driving back up again. We're trying to stay nice and tall and proud rather than bending over as we do our squat. So think about keeping your chest high and getting your hips low as you do this exercise. Weight through the heels. Awesome. I find with this exercise here, you get a lot of loading at the top, which is where you're really strong, and not so much at the bottom. So I'd go for a higher rep range on this one. Say more like about 20 repetitions, just to make sure that you get a really good leg workout out of this one. If you're using the handles, flick your elbows around like that. Very, very similar position and just as effective. All right, guys, let's move on to our band shoulder press next. For our band shoulder press, it's almost the exact same setup as for our squats. However, you're going to want a slightly lighter resistance for this one since we're pushing it right up above our head like this. So shoulder width with our feet, shoulder width with our hands. Again, it's running across near our collarbone. Stay nice and tall as you drive it up. And what I mean by that is you're not going to lean back as you push that band up. It's going to go above your head. Think about pushing it straight up towards the ceiling like that. Full range, you're going to want to get right back to that collarbone each time with the band. Just to show you what it looks like with the band with handles, just like I did with that squat earlier, flicking those elbows around so they're on the outside and driving it up. All right, our next one is our band lat pull down. Band pull down. It's a great exercise for the upper back. It also works the lats more than that single arm pull down we did earlier. And again, it also helps work the biceps as well. Now you're going to need something quite high to hook your bands onto for this one. So I've got this great cable machine, but that door jamb that I showed you earlier would come in really handy. But if you've just got a high beam or something like that at home, that'd be great. You're going to hook your band on, and with this one, you're going to hold it shoulder width apart, or you're going to hold the handles if you use this style of band. Whichever one you use, you're going to step back and kneel down with your arms stretched right out. From here, we're going to be really tall and proud, chest out, and we're going to pull down towards our collarbone. And doing that is going to help us pull our shoulder blades back and really get that upper back and the lats working as much as possible. This one here, same as earlier, 8 to 12 repetitions, 3 sets of it. Again, if you don't have a heavier band, up that rep range. Awesome, guys. Let's move on to our band deadlift. Now this is one exercise where these loops have a little bit of an advantage over those handles, and I'll show you when I get to that. So to do it with the loops, we're going to stand almost shoulder width with our legs. We're going to grab a loop in each hand. Our hips are right out the back, chest puffed out, and then we're going to stand up by driving our hips forward. So again, my hips go backwards, and then I drive my hips forward. So rather than think about it like I'm leaning forwards and then standing up, think about it like you're pushing your backside out and then you're driving your hips forward. So it's more of a pelvic thrust sort of movement than a bowing sort of movement. They look the same, but thinking about it like that will help you get those hamstrings and glutes working rather than just your lower back. Now, the issue with the bands with handles is that they can be a little bit long for this exercise. So you're going to stand a little bit wider than you would, and instead of grabbing the handles, grab underneath the handles, and then we're performing the same action from there. So if you've got the loops, I would recommend using them. If not, grab a really thick band and grab below the handles. All right, let's move on to our lunges with the bands. When we do our lunges, it's a similar setup to our squats, except we've only got it under 1 foot instead of 2. From here, we're going to push that other leg back, and then we're just dropping down and driving up like that. Trying to stay nice and tall. Just like with our squats, we're trying not to lean forward. Try and keep your shoulders over the top of your hips the whole time. Just like that. Of course, swapping legs once you've done 10 to 20 on one leg. Just to show you with the band with handles, same sort of setup. 1 foot on, over we go, drop that back knee, drive it up. Just like that. This is a great exercise to include, just like the squats, it does our quads, glutes and hamstrings, but it works each leg independently. And most of us have got one leg that's a little bit stronger than the other leg. So this helps fix that up over time. Let's move on to our last exercise, our band woodchoppers. Our last exercise is the band woodchopper, and it's a great exercise for the core. We want to attach our bands to a pole or a railing, but we want it sort of around chest height for this one. We're going to stand perpendicular to where our band's coming from in a slight squat. So my knees are slightly bent, I've got my weight through my heels. It's really important with this exercise that we stabilize our hips. We don't want them to move very much. On the other hand, we want our chest to move a lot. So we're going to grab the band with one hand, cup it with the other, and as I turn my hands, I try and turn my chest with it. So my whole upper body is turning from one side to the other. You should be able to make a circular shape with your arms and your chest and keep that circular shape as you do this exercise. If that closes in any way, you know you've lost your form. Now this exercise, I do a higher rep range, something like 15 reps on one side, 15 reps on the other side. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you like, check out some other workouts that I've done on the channel right here, and I'll see you next time.